Another week of comic book releases means it is time for Pals Pulls. This is the Comics Pals weekly live show where we review comics. We have a full cast on deck. We've got Cale,
What's up, hot dogs?
Marco,
Marco Jojo.
Tyler,
The bunny of the group.
and I'll be your buttercup. We've got
Count 'em.
five of this week's biggest releases. We've got Superman number 16, Absolute Power tie-in. We've got Phoenix number 1.
Boy.
Oh yeah.
How many variants did you buy for that one, Sean?
Not talking about that right now. Ultimate X-Men number 5. I got
Ooh.
the Surge variant, of course. I had to do it.
Hell yeah.
You guys know I love Surge, even
Very
though this
cool.
is not my Surge.
Who is that variant?
I have no idea.
I think that's also Peach.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The listener pick this week was Namor number 1. That's what you guys wanted. A whole bunch of you wanted it. So we provided it. I got this variant. It's him diving into the water, which actually I didn't know it at the time, but it's pretty thematically relevant. So really
Alex
cool.
Maleev cover.
Ah. And then, of course, had to do it. Powerpuff Girls number 1.
Had to do it.
And Tyler has his physical. I've got one of the incentive variant covers. I couldn't avoid it.
Oh,
You can
yeah,
see
that's
it's got
cool.
that
Dang.
nice $7 price point.
That's less cool. Dang.
The version variant, as they call those, right?
Yeah, this is a virgin cover. This is by Nicoletta Baldari. So I had to.
So quickly, Marco and I had a hell of a time trying to find the digital version.
Yep.
So when I Googled Powerpuff Girls 2024, the $50 version was the first thing that came up.
Wow.
They didn't even try to hide it.
Wow, 50 bones. Big boy money. That's Atomic Hound money. So the gang's all here. We've got our books laid out. You guys are here. Thank you for joining us, whether live or in the future. Make sure you smash that like button. If you enjoy what we
Smash.
do, if you're listening, be subscribed. That helps us out a ton. Let's jump into the first book. We've got Superman 16 on the docket. This is the Absolute Power tie-in piece. This is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Jamal Campbell, letters by Ariana Mayer. Zatanna's in the house because everybody's depowered. You know, Superman lost his powers. Everybody's lost their powers, but Zatanna can still kind of sort of do some magic stuff. And we get introduced to her being involved in this. Superman has been shot. Of course, we saw that in Absolute Power number 1. And this issue goes a little bit further into that. And there's a resistance group that's working out of the Fortress of Solitude. Superman is back up and on his feet. And, this is just sort of a regrouping issue to see where everybody's at. And that's about it.
I like that you said a regrouping issue. I think that's what this needed. It felt very. It followed right after the events of the first issue, and so of Absolute Power, and so I think this is a good grounding. If this is you're coming in, you've been following Superman, maybe you haven't picked up the Absolute Power issue. Maybe this is going to incentivize you to go back because you want to kind of get context for what's going on. And I love the inclusions. I liked Mercy going out doing some top secret stuff. I like the Lex stuff still carries over from Action Comics and Superman too. So this was all around a very well structured issue, and I'm happy with this so far and this event so far. If these are the tie-in issues and this is the quality of those tie-in issues, I'm still on the train. I'm excited.
What I enjoyed about this, twofold. First fold is that it really felt like issue 2 of Absolute Power in a way. And I know that's one of the things we were a little nervous about with Absolute Power, being that it was only it's only 4 issues. Is that it, Sean?
Yep.
How are they going to tell a story like that in 4 issues? Well, the tie-ins matter. Like the Batman one last week kind of mattered as well. So strangely, that's, I don't want to say refreshing because it's not. It's a tried and true thing that comics have done, but it at least makes the tie-ins feel like they have weight to them. And so for the ones that I'm reading, it's good that I'm reading it. I can see how if somebody's not reading this, that's probably a problem. But for me, who is reading it, I think it's good, and I actually enjoy this issue. The second fold, Zatanna. I will read anything Zatanna's in. There's a new Zatanna miniseries going on right now too. I think it's great. I really like her working with Superman, because Superman and magic have always been kind of, like on opposite ends. They even kind of play with that here. So I'm really excited to see more of Zatanna. And the Jamal Campbell art. We can talk about that for days, but insane stuff.
Very clean.
Kind of wish Superman would stay shot longer. It feels like a bigger deal. But I agree with everything else.
That is why the 4 issues for Absolute Power is just not long enough. Nothing can breathe. There's just I had whiplash. I was like, did I miss something? Was there an issue that I didn't pick up? How is it that Superman is just good now? And they put him in the black suit and he's completely fine. I definitely think that was a mistake.
The black suit's the healing suit, right?
They say that.
Yeah, that's the one he came back with after Death of Superman.
Yeah.
But I don't know the logistics of it. Yeah, it's very...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, I get that Mr. Terrific and Dr. Midnight, and can I just say, as a long-time DC fan, seeing Dr. Midnight doing surgery on superheroes, that's really cool. Yeah. I haven't seen that in a very, very long time. But it just didn't matter.
Take out some of the weight of the fact that he got shot. Like the first issue, there was like, oh my God, he's depowered. He's got a bullet in him. That never happens. The man whose bullet bounced off, he's back up and at him.
Can you say that the reasoning for that is just to take him off the board for that initial volley so that he can't be there for when everything else bad happens?
Well, what does it matter? He's depowered.
Right. If anything, it would have been interesting if, let's say this was issue 2, 3, people get their powers back, but he's still out of play because he's still like comatose or something, or like leave him because he's a heavy hitter for the end.
And where's the hope?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed by that development. I thought shooting him in the first issue of Absolute Power was bold and compelling. And this starting with Zatanna, well, it starts with the Superman as a kid doing magic in front of his parents, which I thought was really cute. That was a good sequence. And then, going into Zatanna, who's on this mission. I'm like, okay, this is now a Friends of Superman book. At least until Absolute Power 2 brings Superman back into the fold. I'm cool with that. Or maybe by the end of this issue, they figured out something that can parlay into Absolute Power 2. But to just get a few pages in and my man's walking around like he looks good as shit. Like, look at this guy. Like, he looks phenomenal. Like, nothing happened. It just negates all the heat that they got last week or 2 weeks ago.
I like to think that he's just soaking wet with blood underneath the suit.
Or like pale for having literally just come out of surgery. Like,
yeah, it doesn't help that you've got Jamal Campbell on art. He draws fucking Superman like $1 million.
Yeah, dude.
It would have been nice if that traditional thing where like the hero is pulling the IV out of his arm and stuff. Yeah. Or like it seemed like, I don't know what a kryptonite IV. I don't know how that works. But like just something like that to show the transition of struggle into getting there.
Well, and the other thing is they make such a big deal about a kryptonite scalpel.
Yep.
There's like a 2-page argument about it, yeah, or discussion about it, but it doesn't mean anything.
I thought that was gonna play a role like for the rest of it. There's the whole issue is they're doing surgery while
Yeah.
the group is kind of wrapping up and finding the rest of the people and who are the allies. So even that didn't pan out.
I,
But that was such a cool idea.
I say hold on to that. I think that Kryptonite scalpel will be important. That was very Chekhov's scalpel in a way, the way they showcased that. I don't think we have the full story yet, especially with how we saw John Kent in the situation he was in at the end of Absolute Power. I can see that scalpel coming into play.
Interesting.
That's a decent point. Yeah.
Overall, this issue didn't really make me feel too many things. It was perfectly solid, I think.
Yeah.
As a tie-in issue, it feels like the kind of thing that we should be seeing the heroes gathering, trying to figure out their plans and strategies. I'm all in on that. I think just my biggest issue was the Superman being brought back into play so early piece. But, it is what it is. We get a little Peacemaker action. The Peacemakers are in this, and so it's kind of cool to see them still on the board. And I will hand it to Joshua Williamson. And I mean, I guess it's to his credit, but this Peacemaker feels like John Cena. Like the dialogue is the Peacemaker show dialogue style. It feels very on point, which is cool because who's really writing Peacemaker and referencing something other than the TV show and movie? Like that is who that character is. So for the dialogue to be so on point, I did like that.
When was the last time I saw Jamal Campbell on art? Was it the beginning of the Williamson's run? I
He
know he was.
definitely has been a part of this run. I don't remember the last issue he
Sure.
had, but
Okay.
it's good stuff.
Yeah, I remember when it was announced the Action Comics Superman thing. I remember the splash page. But it is good stuff. It's good DC stuff, and I think it's really well served to kind of be alongside the way Dan Mora's art looks in Absolute Power. The coloring was very similar, and it was like, all right, complimentary.
Yeah, I really could look at Jamal Campbell's art all day. It's really gorgeous. Um, I give this a pull. I thought this was solid. It does exactly what it needs to do. There's not a lot of progress with like the Lex stuff that's left dangling. I feel like Absolute Power needs to end before we can really move forward with all the layers of story that we've gotten over the last few months between Brainiac Queen and House of Brainiac and everything else. So if you're looking for those things to be followed up on, those threads, you're not going to get that here. But if you are invested in Absolute Power, this feels like a perfectly appropriate tie-in to pick up, whether you're reading Superman or not. I think this is a good place to go. I would actually say you probably should read this if you haven't been, because how else are you going to know why the hell Superman is walking around looking all good?
Yeah.
Like,
Did he just get shot last issue? Like,
right.
Like even in I read Wonder Woman. We're not talking about in the show. Thanks, Sean. But that also was like this. It was like a tie-in where it's like, oh, I feel like that's important for the main story.
Even the Batman one.
Yeah.
Was that last week before? Yeah.
Cool.
It's a pull for me too, especially like cool cameos by characters I haven't seen in a while, like Red Tornado. When's the last time you've seen him talk in main continuity? So I like how they really are establishing the DC universe in this event with the tie-ins as like, hey, these are where all your favorite characters are. So I'm all in on this. It's a pull.
pull.
Cool. Yeah, this was a great start to the week. We've got a lot more books to talk about. And not only that, but I want to let you guys know that this weekend, this Saturday, is going to be big. There is so much news to talk about. I don't know how many of you guys got the chance to see it, panelists and listeners, but yesterday, DC put out this video with Josh Williamson and Scott Snyder, blowing the doors off of All In and Absolute and like the DC's first official words on these things. And it was super cool. I really love the presentation of that. We're going to talk about all those announcements, the announcements that have come today, the follow-up announcements of all these different creative teams and new books and It's a lot of fun, a lot of excitement. Saturday is going to be a huge DC day for us. We're going to go into all these different announcements that have come out. And not to mention, there's also some non-comic stuff to talk about too. This has been a huge week. I love it. This is the best time to be a fan. Very excited. So that's Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. We'll be talking about all that goodness. You're not going to want to miss this week's live show. Come with your picks.
Breakfast. Oh,
well, you might want to come with your breakfast, but you come with your picks for the top 5 DC events. We did 5 and 4. We're gonna do 3 and 2 coming this week. So get ready for that, and get ready for our book club, our next book club, which is on Crisis on Infinite Earths. The listeners voted. That's what you guys decided on. So we will be talking about that here on July 30th. We will be doing that book club.
Very excited for that one.
Yeah.
Get started now.
And no, you
Big
cannot
start.
watch the animated movies. That doesn't count. You got to read the book.
Damn. But my book report.
Should be fun. Let's see who's in the chat right now. Who can we say hello to? Hello, what's up, Roboters? What's up, Izzy? What's up, Atomic Hound? Solicits. Yeah, that's why they had to put that news out, because they had to beat Solicits, which was what I predicted. Fresh News. What's up?
We got Beast Lab
what?
Rat. He's a new fella I haven't seen around. Good to
I
see
think
you.
that's Comics Joe.
Comics
I think.
Joe.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. Like Joe Quesada.
I wish. No, I'm happy with Comics Joe.
Okay.
Did we miss any comments that we should have hit for Superman? Zatanna saying Nepo. I was like, what does she mean? It took me a solid 5 seconds. That's funny.
I thought she was being self-aware at that point because she is the father of
Nepo baby. Yeah. Yeah, same. Amin says my biggest issue is that technology feels OP here. Like, give all the superhero suits like the one Lois is wearing, and they're clear.
Yeah. They're gonna have to get around that, because that's kind of frustrating. I don't want to see, I know Lois is about to get powers in Action, I think, and then they're doing this here where she's teched out. I'm not really into that. Like, someone has to be helpless.
There's also so there's the tech, but in Absolute Power 1, Robot Man's just wandering around. And then in this one, Red Tornado's wandering around. So, okay, let's let the robots save the day. What are we doing?
And do EMPs not exist? Like, wouldn't that take out the Amazos too? I would have.
What's up, James? What's up, Leatrix? I don't know. We'll have to let them explain it in Absolute Power. Let's talk about Phoenix #1, jumping over to the Marvel side of things. This is by Stephanie Phillips with Alessandro Miracolo on art, and colors by Corey Pettit. Letters by Corey Pettit, colors by David Curiel. So Jean and the Phoenix are firmly established as one and the same at the end of the Krakoan age. And now the two, who are one, have decided to go on a trip through space. And she is leaving Earth to the mutants, and she's going to go on her own mission to, just be a cool flittering bird, burning up the cosmos. And we get some interesting co-stars in this book. Nova is involved, which is interesting. There are new enemies introduced, a new planet that she's going to interact with. I'm going to kick things off with my thoughts because, Phoenix, this is my jam. I really don't know why this book exists. This feels totally disconnected from everything else. Maybe that's something that I just have to get used to. I guess I got used to a level of connectivity between the Krakoan Age books that this just being Jean in space feels a little odd, especially because for a very long time, the goal of the mutants was singular. It was protect mutant kind at all costs. And now, arguably, the most powerful living mutant is no longer doing that. She is off the board. And I feel like the mutant threat is still present. Like, threats to mutants are still present. So why is she doing this? It feels kind of random. And to be honest with you, I'm not really that interested in Jean, in Phoenix Jean in the cosmos. I don't care, actually. The humanity isn't present. And that is why the Phoenix is interesting, because of Jean's humanity and Jean's characterization. And for me, those things are not really here because Jean works really well when she has people around her. Jean Grey is a great person, but she's also selfish at times. She's arrogant at times. She can be a loose cannon at times. She's really smart, but she has to be because she holds herself back power wise. This is a character who can do anything she wants to do. She's all powerful. Nothing can threaten her. So why should I read this?
Surprising, actually, coming from you, I think.
Yeah.
Is it?
I almost completely disagree with that
Me too.
assessment.
Yeah.
I feel like her humanity's completely on show here versus what the Phoenix is. Because the first thing we do is see her save this planet that the narrator's from. And, you know, she says she's not gonna let that happen. The sun explode and take out the planet. Um and we see this, the narrator describes this relationship with Jean Grey and the Phoenix, and then her later on uh her relationship with Scott, they still have telepathically, which I thought was a really good touch. And then her decision not to go after the god guy was also a human one, so that she could save everyone else on the prison thing.
And I even thought, like, just thematically, From the Ashes is what this whole thing is about. Where Jean and the Phoenix left off at the end of Krakoa was like Phoenix is literally reborn into like a chick. She was like a little tiny Phoenix and it's growing into it. And Jean having the really human need to rehab the image of the Phoenix and recontextualize what the Phoenix is a very human thing, I think. And I think that's why, like, she had to leave, even though, like, she knows, like, I think Scott knows too, because Scott asked her, like, hey, is there do you have an ETA at this? And she's like, no, I don't think I do yet. And that felt like really human. It's like, hey, I have this urge and this drive that I just need to do something. It almost feels like when I mean, it literally is this in the book in a even bigger sense, but like a long distance relationship, that conversation they had, where it was like very human. It's like, I don't think either of them want it, but they both understand it needs to happen. And I thought that was really good. Where I feel like Jean, most of the time I've read her, almost has always been defined really on like her relationships and those around her. And I like the fact that she's kind of, I almost said spreading her wings, I'll say it. But doing her own solo thing here, because I think that's necessary for the character to grow out, like to grow as a character. And I really enjoyed it in this.
I think the only thing that, to that point on changing the image of the Phoenix, I thought that as being the plot and the thing that we're going to see throughout, that makes sense because the her biggest thing is the opposite of this, right? Is she blew up a sun in order to destroy a planet, and so I thought that was a good nod to some of the history there and wanting to see that that change in her and to the people around, to the billions and trillions of people around her, because it's not just the people on Earth that have been affected by the Phoenix.
And I also like putting her in space. I think addresses that power level issue you mentioned, Sean, because like Morg is in here. He's like an old Herald of Galactus. Like they are. I think there's a higher power level for the people that are in space, to the point where like I think Jean will be able to at least have some trouble with certain things if they power someone up cosmically. Because on Earth, you're right, she's kind of OP. So take her out of there.
Nah, that's silly because she's a mutant. She's not any other person, and she's beholden to mutant kind and doesn't has never I've never seen a time where Jean was trying to do anything other than protect mutants on Earth. So the idea that she would leave them at this critical moment to go and do this mission to rehab how people see the Phoenix, I'm sorry, but that sounds really dumb. She cares about how people see the Phoenix? That, I mean, so what?
It's a little selfish, and I think that's human too, in a way, which I kind of enjoyed.
No, it actually sounds like a mandate from editors. That's what it sounds like.
I was gonna get into the other part of it. It's like, well, they also want these characters to exist on themselves in solo books, like with Storm coming up, because they can see them as IP, and that's the other end of it. But yeah,
It's flimsy. I think Gene shouldn't make. I don't believe that Gene would make this choice, and that makes this book very difficult for me to connect with. If the Phoenix entity took Gene to this place, and she didn't know why she was here, and she had to figure it out for herself and work her way through that process, then that's something that I could get behind. But I just don't think that she would choose to do this. If she's all powerful and she can stop the sun from burning out, then I don't really know what kind of threats there could be to her. And I think that Jean works better when there is a reason for her to restrain herself on some level. I don't care about the Phoenix. I care about Jean. And I think most Jean Grey fans are like that. The Phoenix is not what I care about. It's a power boost. It's not a character trait. And that's all she gets to do here is be Phoenix. I don't care about that. And then also like Nova is a supporting character. I don't care about that. This just doesn't feel like an X-Men book, and I just don't know what's here for me as a person who's loved Jean Grey for almost 30 years.
did you guys?
Furious. I'm furious that I'm going to bat for the Phoenix right now.
This is my pick of the week. Yeah,
I hate the Phoenix. But I thought this was all right. Yeah, again, like, Sean is arguing for the Jean Grey side of it, and I can see where you're coming from, but I thought this worked really well. I thought the showcasing of the Phoenix and nurturing the Phoenix into something different and more benevolent,
Mm.
I think is, like we said, a good rehab for that entity. And frankly, it gives that entity something interesting.
and also,
Um, I agree with your assessment. If it pulled Gene into this, I think that would be maybe a little better executed. Um, but again, I can't believe I like this and you don't, and I'm disgusted.
the chat's mentioning here, but like Corsair is showing up next issue. So there will be that Jean aspect of it where she has to deal with her father-in-law. So I think there will be some like genie parts to it. I think that's interesting. I think it's an interesting dynamic that I don't think I've really seen too much of. To be fair, I haven't
There's
seen
nothing more human than dealing with your in-laws.
Oh, yeah. Did you guys read the
Yeah.
QR page?
The what?
Yes.
The QR
The
one,
QR
yeah.
page, yeah. I
Oh no.
thought it was
I don't
weird.
do that.
Like another week.
I thought it's super tedious to even do that.
So, yeah, it's another goofy decision that they've made. This From the Ashes is an interesting pivot. Yeah, I hear you, Dan. Dan says it's an interesting twist that everyone likes a Jean Grey book more than Sean. It's not a Jean Grey book. That's the problem. And the Phoenix is not a heroic entity. The Phoenix force is a force of its own. It's not good or bad. I don't see why it should need a rehabbing. I think it's interesting that it's not a heroic thing. I like that part about it, that Jean Grey has to temper that. It reflects her inner turmoil. That's why she got it. That's why they're so in sync. I mean, if you go back and read that old stuff, it's all there. So I don't know. I don't know why we would be rehabbing something that's not a good thing in the first place. But I did think the art was pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought the art was solid.
Hmm.
The Miracolo art was pretty good. Um, I thought the new like people designs were pretty basic, but that's okay. because we're probably not going to spend a ton of time with them. Nova looked awesome, I thought, throughout this.
Yeah. Whenever Nova's
Look like
drawn with those like pointy shoulder pads or whatever, love it.
He looked like a space football player.
That
Which I feel like is kind of his character.
was a good time. It was fun.
Stroke her back.
It's weird. Nova was also an X-Men Red, so he's kind of being like really tied in with X-Men lately. But I guess X-Men have always been cosmic a lot of the time, especially
Yeah.
during Claremont's
Yeah.
run. So
I mean, there are people who don't like that too.
sure.
I mean, I'll pull, I guess. This was okay. I didn't really like it too much, but I'm certainly not going to tap out on it yet. I liked it more than X-Men #1. I can say that.
Wild. I can't believe this. It's a pull for me. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, also a pull. I'd be interested to follow this, but I'm assuming this is gonna be one of the minis.
No,
No, it's
this is
ongoing.
ongoing.
I think this was my pick of the week. Actually, I really enjoyed this. Granted, I'm a sucker for Cosmic Marvel, so, and I'm grasping for scraps at this point when it comes to that. So I'll take what I can get. But yeah, this is my pick of the week.
Cliff says, not caring for the Phoenix because you care for the character and not the power boost would be like not caring for a boxer who's boosted from feather to heavy and you not caring for those bouts.
I'm sorry, but that comparison doesn't make any sense, dude. That's not at all what I'm talking about. That would be what I'm saying is that the Phoenix Force is not the same thing as Jean Grey. That's what I'm saying. That Jean Grey is a character unto herself, and the Phoenix Force is a power boost. It's almost like a symbiote. But if Eddie Brock was a fully fledged, character unto himself before he gets the symbiote, it's not like a boxer because it's the same person with the same personality and everything else. Jean Grey gets a power boost from being the Phoenix and a responsibility that comes with that. And also, in the past, at the very least, a personality change and something that she has to weather. What else? Style's so serious. I like the angle they went for in this story, but it doesn't feel like Jean Grey X-Men. Yeah, it really doesn't. Inquisitor Drace, I completely agree with Sean. Thank you. Amin says, I can feel Sean's pain from overseas. Yeah, it's frustrating. Robotus, go ahead.
I like that this is what it took to get the rest of us to like her.
For her to not be her. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Different take.
I mean,
yeah, I wish I liked it, but what are you gonna do? Izzy says, what's up, Izzy? Caught up with the live part of the show. Wanted to plug the great pre-book club that the monitors of the Palsverse, i.e. Dan and Hound, hosted the other day with Amin and myself discussing Crisis. So what Izzy is referencing is that 4 of our community members over on the Discord, which you can join by clicking a link, which is in the description of everything that we do, actually hung out and talked about Crisis on Infinite Earths, which is our book club pick of the month, voted on by our patrons. So they decided just to jump into one of the chat channels and have a discussion unto themselves, which I think is pretty awesome. And you guys can always do. Like, there's no prerequisite to that. You can just chat amongst yourselves.
We got that bad boy open, so you can use it. And Marcos put a link in the chat now. So
join.
Yeah, Fresh News says, I feel like the point is now Phoenix and Jean are closer as one. That is absolutely the point. The problem is that when you think about the original intention of the Phoenix, it was never meant to be permanent, right? And it was meant to be an enemy and a problem for the mutants, not an ally. So how does the story change when the most powerful entity is now an ally of the X-Men? How do you tell stories with that are compelling and interesting and don't require you to constantly take that off the board because the character is just all powerful and there's nothing that can be done about it? which I'm interested to see how they're going to handle that problem. There's never been a Jean Grey centered Phoenix story that wasn't ongoing. So I don't know how they're going to deal with this.
Hmm.
All right. Let's get into Ultimate X-Men #5. Peach Momoko doing everything but the letters, which were done by Travis Lanham. This issue gets us a little bit more momentum, I guess. We kind of learn a little more about everybody, and I think we get some more hints as to what's actually going on here. Um, there's a it's not quite a seance, I guess, but it sort of is. It reminded me of like Ouija board stuff.
Yeah.
Um, where what's her name? Nico Minoru, who was introduced in the last issue. She's got this magnifying glass that she uses, which is so fun. There's a really great panel. It's my favorite panel, I think, in all these Ultimate books or in Ultimate X-Men so far, where she looks through the yeah, here it is. She looks through the magnifying glass, and it's like that's essentially another panel of her eye, but it's a magnifying glass. Like that's just really slick comic book shit. Um this was my favorite issue of Ultimate X-Men. I actually really liked this. I thought this was fun. I liked Surge. She just fucking ices that guy who tries to like flirt with her.
Is she an escort? Like a
Apparently.
companion for pay, I guess.
Yeah. Um I thought this was a lot of fun. I felt like we got meaningful progression and time with each character to learn a little bit more about them. I don't give a shit about this as an X-Men book, but I did think this individual issue, just as a comic book, was pretty fun. I will say I absolutely despise the last page where they're trying to say, like, oh, we're trying to come up with their name and they just stumble upon X-Men. That was like,
Yep.
that's the kind of horseshit that's just like, can you please get this out of my life?
Mhm.
But the rest of the issue I thought was quite good.
I've been down on this series, and this I think it's a better issue than last one. I think there's a bit more ease of continuity. I feel like I remember the last issue. There was moments of like flashbacks, and there were things where you couldn't follow the page and the thought process. But here was clear, concise. Um, Similarly, the seance moment was a lot of fun, but I'm still not. This still feels like it's developing too quickly, or rather, it's paced too quickly, but not developing fast enough. And I'm I'm frustrated by that. And that's the majority of what this book has felt to me. The art's incredible. Sometimes it has its moments where I don't follow the way that Momoko is doing her paneling, but otherwise everything about it is structured incredibly well. And but the story here just isn't landing for me. I still can't get into it, and I'm
You,
frustrated by that because I want to like this.
when you mentioned the how it's like slow, but it's fast, but it's still slow.
Yeah.
That's the stickler for me. The pacing in this is confusing because you're right. Like stuff is happening, but nothing's really happening. Like the forward progression. Like we're issue 6. We're still not. We're going to be into issue 6 coming up, and there's still not a full team yet for a book that's called Ultimate X-Men. I think I'm out. Like I can see how the book looks really good, and I think there's some fun character moments, but it feels like it's moving at a snail's pace for me, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, hurry up, let's let's do something, and it's frustrating. I'll give it the 6th issue because I assume that's the end of the first arc,
Hmm.
and I think I could at least give it that much. It's one more issue left, but it's just not doing anything for me at all.
Valid. I don't know. I don't know why I appreciated this issue more than others. I guess I mean, I just thought it was kind of interesting. I don't know. Like I don't have a connection to this as a whole, and I'm just trying to be fair to it issue by issue and not think about the wider relationship to anything else. And when Surge cracked that dude's head and fried him, I was like, oh shit, that's crazy. And when they did that weird seance, I was like, oh, that's fun. And those are my takeaways from this issue more than anything. I don't know. Like,
And that's all.
certainly, if we were to say, if like two of you said, I don't want to review this anymore, I would say, great, let's not. Right. But
We
for
can
what
do
we
that
just
right
did,
now.
all right, so let's do it right now.
It's fine.
No, wait.
I'm
Oh.
out. I'm out.
I mean, you can go to the poll.
We said
Forget
two
the
of us.
people. Let's what do we want right now?
I'm out.
I'll.
There's just not enough here. Even the cool part where they work together and figure out a demon, and we see the bad guy summoning a demon. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
And then I felt like the scene changed from the seance or whatever to Surge was so obtuse because the dialogue in that moment is Nico saying, "Oh, my grandmother has this research, blah 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 blah." I kind of expected we were going to go to that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she has an answer. Cool, great. But then it completely shifted. We just had this cool thing, and then it was to someone I don't even know. I just like, to me, this was, and then to top it off, the cap of the crime is the shoehorned in X-Men bit. Like, no, fuck
That
it.
was rough.
I'm out.
I want to like this. I want to love this. And damn. But see, now I'm stuck in that toxic comic book thing where it's like, I gotta make it through because I want to love this so bad.
But you don't.
But I don't like.
Look, man, if you don't like it, you don't like it. Like,
It is what it is.
Yeah.
There's one more issue to the end of the arc. Something
I'll
could happen.
I'll give it to the end of the arc for the completionist sake in me. But that's it.
It's gotta light my pants on fire for me to get to 7.
That'll make you a liar.
You guys heard it. We will review the 6th issue, and then that will be that for Ultimate X-Men.
Ahmed's right. And Cale took that personally. y'all gave me the out. I said, hey, I listen, I've had the same feelings, and when I have the same feelings, I try not to say anything because nothing has changed. Y'all gave me the opening. I said my feelings, and y'all left me out to dry.
I think you're off that.
Person.
I think you're off
Took
the week
that
the next issue comes
personally.
out.
I don't. You're not left out to dry. We're gonna close out this arc, and then that's gonna be we're gonna be donezo with this series. I think as comic book fans, one thing you've always got to know is when to tap out. And I tapped out with Wonder Woman. Spoiler alert: that shit is not in my stack. I said I was done, and I am done. That's it.
Bye.
And maybe Ultimate X-Men will be that.
I'll say, good time to drop out of Wonder Woman. the tie-in was not great.
I bet.
Mr. King writing.
Damn. So, am I the only pull on this?
On this one?
This is a bugged out week. What is going
Yo.
on?
This episode is weird.
It's a pass for me. Yeah.
Damn, it is. And it's a pass on a better issue, which is it feels like even more indicative for me.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, Sean, are you okay? You've been
Word.
feeling something. It's not a full moon or something, is it?
If we start
Mercury's
hearing
in
him say
Gatorade.
like "me am Sean," then there's a problem for sure.
I can't explain it. Yeah, Columbo says I really like this book, but I don't think y'all should review it anymore. That is completely fair, dude.
Yeah.
That is.
I don't
that
know.
is-
Cole says the book leaves me wanting more, but it doesn't hinder my enjoyment of it. The end was rough, but it may be a messy translation. That didn't read to me like a messy Look, I letter translations for a living. That didn't feel like a messy translation.
you're not translating the art in the panels. It's the text that gets translated.
And
And
that conversation was not like, that was very deliberate. They were looking for a play on X-Men and contrived it in.
Yeah, that just didn't need to happen. It didn't need that. It didn't need it. Styles So Serious says Wonder Woman is great, Sean, you're tripping. Look, that's cool, man. That's totally fine. There was like probably an hour's worth or more of me discussing my feelings on Wonder Woman to this point across multiple issues. And we are done reviewing it. So I no longer have to come on this podcast and talk about this book anymore. Everybody that loves it is free from having to hear me denigrate it.
That
You
You
getting
won.
called out. You getting called out in other people's videos though.
Really?
Comics are dope. Comics are dope. Said this week in his poll video, he said, "I disagree with Sean's take on the last issue, but
Oh, all right.
that was
Shots
pretty good.
For
fired.
what, Wonder Woman?
yeah."
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Comics are dope. I appreciate the plug anyways.
It's a name drop. Yeah.
All engagement is good engagement, right? Uh Uncaged says Def more than an hour. Yeah, probably. Probably. There needs to be a compilation of just my words on Wonder Woman. And how long can that go?
dude, that supercut is just gonna be like exasperated sighs. You start up.
And that's still longer than an hour.
James Jones says, respect your opinion, but upcoming issues look to tie Ultimate X-Men into the maker. I think this will shine in about 3 issues. All right. Well, let's
Man.
see. So this issue was $4.99. I'm going to presume that everyone prior has been the same amount of money, okay?
Correct.
So then that's 5 times 9, right? So what's that? $45? So that's $45. If we go by your timeline of, well, 3 issues would be issue 8. So, okay, $40. If we go by your timeline, it took $40 to get to the point where this series connected to the wider world, you know, in a core way. And that doesn't feel amazing to me, especially for a book that I'm just not engaged with. You know, like Black Panther is just doing stuff that I like. I enjoy it. It's not perfect, but it's doing things that I largely like. So I'm willing to hang in there to get to the greatness. You know, Ultimates is just stellar from the word go. All these books have to live up to their own status, regardless of the wider world. And for me, Ultimate X-Men just isn't really doing that. Columbo says we'll have good Wonder Woman content on the show soon enough. In Kelly, we trust. Hell yeah, brother.
Amen.
By the way, I already mentioned it earlier, but I'll mention it again. We've got a big show coming up this Saturday, talking all the DC all-in stuff, absolute stuff that's been announced this week. And I'm sure there will be a little bit more announcing to do before we go live on Saturday. So definitely come hang out with us. And in addition, make sure that you guys smash that like button. If you're not subscribed to our channel, do that. Hit the notification bell so you never miss us going live or when we drop a video. We drop videos every Wednesday. I don't know how many of you guys that only listen to our live shows know that, but we drop videos every single Wednesday with a variety of topics. Thank you to everybody who watches that stuff. Really appreciate it.
We got a super chat from Atomicon. Thank you for the $9.99. Atomicon's going to give us a quick review here. So Wonder Woman mini review. Here's my question of the week so far. We can figure out Tom King reads Charles Dickens, but is it too much to ask him to read Shazam before writing the characters?
Ooh.
Damn, scathing. Well
yeah,
done.
I mean, I would almost kill to see Sean's reaction to Wonder Woman 11.
I can't, man. I can't buy it.
Can't do it.
What if we
Snack's
just
already
use
there.
that super chat and you could fund yourself that way?
The funny thing is that after YouTube's cut, No, we would still. Okay, yeah. It's still enough. Yeah.
I'll tell you this: one character only speaks in Charles Dickens quotes.
Oof.
Yo, thank God I have myself under control, and I just dropped it and left it. Oh my God, that sounds dreadful.
I love Charles Dickens, and that's infuriating to me.
Thank you so much, Atomic Hound, for the 9.99. Appreciate you. If anybody else wants to super chat, super chats are of course open. Thank you to anybody that chooses to do that. You guys wanted us to read Namor this week. It was a very, very tight listener poll, and so many of you voted. I am very grateful to the 260 plus of you that went and voted. YouTube.com/the comics pals under the community tab. And it came down to the wire between Namor and Witchblade. I was pulling for Witchblade. Unfortunately, Namor came out in the clutch and took it at the last minute. So that's what we're reading today. But we've already got next week's poll up and running. It goes live every Thursday at 5 p.m. So 5 p.m. the poll, 6 p.m. this show. And so here's what's on the poll for this week. We've got Flash Gordon, number one.
Oh, come on.
Ooh.
I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't know jack or shit about Flash Gordon.
You never seen the 80s Flash Gordon film with the
Nah,
soundtrack by Queen?
not for a single second.
I only know
My
it because
man.
of that.
Ooh,
Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Flash.
But we are getting that, and I believe it's written by Jeremy Adams, which is super
Yeah.
cool.
that's why
Hey.
I'm really into this.
We've also got Ultimate Black Panther. Flash Gordon has 22% of the poll votes. Ultimate Black Panther number 6, 51%. Absolute Power Origins number 1 at 16%. I added this to the poll a little bit late because I just thought that this seemed kind of interesting. I really wanted to give this a shot because they've made Amanda Waller a little bit more of an interesting character via her relationship to the Brainiac Queen. So I'm wondering if they're going to further that at all as well. But it says we're going to get her tragic backstory, so we'll see what that means. That's got 16%, and then Green Arrow 14 is an absolute power tie-in. So get your vote on. Let us know what you want us to read here on Pals Pulls next Thursday. We are anxiously awaiting seeing what you choose to vote for.
Please make it Flash Gordon.
I would like to read Flash Gordon.
The Amanda Waller one's written by John Ridley, so that's interesting.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh. But
Mhm.
Jeremy Adams is on Flash Gordon, so
Will Conrad on art too for that Flash Gordon, so that's pretty
ooh,
good art.
Gonna
too.
be great. Gonna be great.
Well, Namor did win. So, in giving it its due props, because that's what you guys want us to talk about, let's talk about Namor number 1. Written by Jason Aaron, with art by Paul Davidson and Alex Lins. Colors by Niraj Menon. Letters by Joe Carabagna. And I don't know Namor's most recent whereabouts, so I don't know if this is piggybacking off of something that, recently happened, but it didn't feel like you needed to know anything particularly deep. Namor is a prisoner. He's been caught. He is a prisoner of the government, and he has vowed to never go into the waters again. And he's being beaten down. He's being mistreated while he's in prison. And juxtaposed with that current story, we also get to see his past, when he was a young up and coming prince that people didn't like and wanted to assassinate. And he fights this crazy Cthulhu monster. So there's a lot here. Namor learns of a war that's happening, and these 7 kings of Atlantis who are trying to take the throne. And he's the only person who can save the day. Look, I don't think it's a secret around here. I have not loved a lot of what Jason Aaron has done of late. This was fire.
This was pick of the week.
This was real good.
I think the world that gets built out, we're not seeing it quite yet outside of the flashbacks. but the current state of it, uh, I really enjoyed like the position that he's placed in. He's of royalty now. He's in prison. Like it's very uh, returning to form for him, and I like that as a backdrop to this to the story. And so um, I'm very much excited to see how he grows into that king role, because I feel like for Aquaman as well as for Namor, typically they're already established, and so to reestablish that and to give that rise to power is a cool, fun story, and I very much like that.
So this actually spins out of Aaron's Avengers, where Namor was kind of a big character there, and there was two big arcs that dealt with Atlantis and the warring factions in Aaron's Avengers. And Namor was kind of this, almost like he was a terrorist, really. He really went back to his like terrorist roots about, being against the surface world. So that's why he exists in this. And this is also Jason Aaron. So there's that. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a little too verbose for my, like, I know that's also who Namor is.
Mm.
But the constant shifting back and forth between the stories, like I thought, like the stories in and of themselves, the current day one and the past one, were good, but I didn't really like the jumping between the two. It didn't do enough to, like, there wasn't enough of a cohesive thread between the two to really justify the jumping between back and forth between the stories. And I thought the art was very, I thought the art was good, but I don't think it was complementary to each other. And that's kind of how I felt between the two stories in the issue. Almost could have been better off, oh God, I can't believe I'm going to say this, main story with the backup than interspersed. But I thought this was just like a fine for me. No real negative things to say, but nothing super positive either.
Yeah, I did really enjoy this, but I think I am sort of on the same page as Tyler, though I think I did see a bit more of the tie-in between the past and the current. That being that Namor's a character who seems to have always had to fight to get where he belongs. And he's also an asshole. And I think that, that seems to track just all the way through his life. I did really enjoy this, and I definitely have been carrying a lot of my anti-Aaron bias into his books lately, but I did enjoy this. I do wish it, while I like the setup in this issue of him being in the prison, and we get this sort of profile of who Namor is right now, I'm into the premise of this story, and I really wish we could have just gotten on with it.
Mm.
And I think that's my big problem here, is just that this is so centered around Namor. Do we know if this is an ongoing?
I believe it is.
I don't know.
Okay. I guess it makes sense if it's an ongoing, but I sort of wish it got to the point, or started stuff,
That's fair. That's definitely fair.
I really don't like Namor traditionally. I really liked him during Hickman's New Avengers.
Yeah.
And it was because of the qualities that Cale laid out. And I think that a lot of times under different writers, lesser writers, Namor can he could just come across, he could have go away heat. Like, you know what? I don't even care about you. You kind of suck. You've got wings on your ankles. Like, that's stupid. Go away. I think Jason Aaron highlighted that Namor he is a king, and he's willing to be ruthless, but it's because he's had to fight his entire life. It's because people have wanted him dead his entire life. And this is just it's endless wartime. It's endless strategy, wheels within wheels. You constantly have to be on your toes and willing to do anything because that's what the depths require. I think that's very interesting. And when I think about how he is, and then I think about Atuma and all these other badasses that they're teasing, and they're worse than him, let's see that. Let's get into that. I think that's really interesting. And I love the flashbacks as well because again, I don't like Namor. So whatever his history is, I'm not familiar with it. Let me see that. Let me get connected to that.
Yeah.
Tilo saying it's an 8-issue miniseries, which okay, that seems like something appropriate for Namor.
That sounds a lot more
Yeah.
logical. This doesn't
Yeah.
need to go on too long.
Unless something revelatory happens, you're reestablishing the character, then maybe. Just because I like this. I like the same way I like Aquaman. I like this archetype. I like the worlds that you can build, and so this is cool. But sure, a mini for sure. I'm down.
If this goes the way that I think it's going, where it's essentially going to be underwater Game of Thrones, which it could be, 7 kingdoms fighting for a throne, which is a lot of what Aquaman has been in the comics in the past decade. But I enjoy that. I think that's fun. And if it can get there, I think I could probably turn around on this. I'll probably check out issue 2, even though I'm not really too jazzed about this one. Because I think Aaron has a good voice for Namor. But it's also like it's kind of cool just to see like crab people, that Man of War
Yeah.
guy. Like Jason Aaron made like an Avengers of the Deep in his Avengers run that was like terrorists, like underwater creature people. That was awesome. I know we complain about Jed McKay doing that constantly in every book he writes, where like a new supervillain team shows up. But I think like a Tuma and Tiger Shark were part of this, so it has potential.
Marco, you said this was your pick of the week.
Yes, sir.
It was real good. Real good. I think that this was definitely my surprise. Well, no, it wasn't the biggest surprise of the week for me. But it was very good. I will definitely be buying at least the second one, and I'm looking forward to it. And I haven't felt that way about a Jason Aaron book in a long time.
Yeah, definitely want to pull the next one.
This gives me hope for TMNT next week.
That's next week.
Pretty sure I have it in front of
I
me.
believe you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh Lord,
There it
I'm not
goes.
ready.
Oh Lord.
He's gonna wait for that TMNT Naruto instead, Cal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, because that'll be good.
Leatrick says Jason Aaron does flashback and back to now stories a lot. Many I have liked and it can often work, but seems like a crutch to Aaron right now. But I want to read Namor. Looks like it. You know what? That is definitely true. That is definitely Aaron's go-to trope of late. He did it a lot in the Punisher book as well that I read. So
He did it in Thor. His Thor run is mostly that young Thor and future Thor.
sure. Jason Aaron loves him some fucking flash arounds.
That one, I think it's like a two-page spread in this issue where it's like little caption boxes explaining, like naming all these weird things in the water. That one annoyed me. It was just like, it's like when Aaron comes out with like and then Thor found space sharks, which then we don't see until 5 issues later. But it was just like, all right, let me come up with cool names for underwater things, and like, it just went from like cute to like, all right, I get it.
Well, and the thing about that was like it seemed like it was supposed to lead somewhere, but then it just didn't.
No, dude, that was just fleshing out the world. Like, this is what you could imagine. This is what you could see. This is where we exist. There's a society here. I took it very much. I love when writers do that.
Sure, it's a double-page spread. Fill it with words. Who cares?
You get some nice art. He's going through the city and whatnot. You could
Yeah,
maybe make it a
nice
little more
art covered in
dynamic.
caption boxes. Who cares?
I
Throw
thought
them
it
on
was
there.
a well done way to build out the world a little bit without necessarily having to commit to showing it all.
I mean, Aaron could have made Tentacle Gang canon at that point. He didn't, so I kind of feel a little upset about it.
He was
but
close.
It's close.
Take care, Steve. Have a good night. I want us to get to 300 votes in the poll. So everybody listening to me right now should head on over and vote. It's easy to do. YouTube.com/the Comics Pals under the community tab. We're always putting stuff up there. And the vote is the most critical thing. And I would love to see you guys get us over that 300 because that's never happened. So I would love to see that. So if you have not voted, make sure you get that done for us. We've got one book left, and that is Powerpuff Girls #1.
Let's go.
Yep. Had to get me that sweet incentive cover for the girls. And you know what else I did when I was getting ready to read this issue and for the first little bit of reading it? I went on youtube.com and I looked up the Powerpuff Girls theme song.
Intro. Yeah, hell yeah. Yep.
And I listened to that while I read this
Sure.
for the first few pages. And that was nice. Powerpuff Girls #1 is written by Kelly Thompson with art by Paulina Ganucheau, letters by Jeff Eckelberry, and that's the creative team on this one. This felt like an episode of the show.
Yeah.
I would say in pretty much every way, it feels like a perfect script for a Powerpuff Girls episode. And the art is absolutely, it's 1-to-1. I was shocked how good it looked, actually. It was crazy how good it looked. And, you know, the girls are in kindergarten, and I even forgot they were that young. I was like, oh my God, they're kindergartners. That's right.
Damn.
And they're in their kindergarten class, and here come these robots that are going to, you know, teach that or ask them their dreams, and they'll tell their dreams to these robots. And then they get to, you know, live their dream out in this, you know, fantasy world. And, you know, you find out that behind the whole scheme was him. And it's very clever the way that Kelly Thompson, you know, seeded that from the beginning of the issue that he was
Page
involved.
1.
Yeah, from page 1. Like very, very well done on her part. Nice mystery that you could figure out if you just paid a little more attention. Felt like Zurinar or something like that, like a low scale version of something on those lines. And then they just kick his ass, and that's it, you know. And they have these little, you know, these moments during their dream sequences where, you know, they all have these different jobs. Like Blossom is a detective, you know, and Buttercup is a fucking wrestler or whatever. Like that was so fun.
Yeah. And I think what Kelly Thompson did with him in this issue was so important because him is the most diabolical villain in the Powerpuff Girls. And if you didn't come at this issue swinging for the fences, there's no way it was going to work. And Kelly Thompson just straight makes it happen. Makes it believable, makes it just a straight through line that works. I love this issue. I've been a long time fan of Paulina Ganucheau too, and I'm over the moon with this. I can't believe in this, the year of our Lord 2024, I got a Powerpuff Girls #1 that is my favorite.
This was my pick of the week. This was a perfect comic.
Same.
Book.
Yep.
Really?
Pick of the week.
I wasn't impressed. I think this was well executed. I think the art stays true to what the cartoon was. I noted all the small things that Kelly did with him and with the girls, but it just felt like an episode, and like it's cool that it captures that. It captures onto some of that nostalgia, but maybe I just wanted a little more out of it, and I don't know what ways at the moment, but I read through it and I was like, I mean, not perfectly, but all right, I'm satisfied.
I'm with you, Marco, because my issue with it was that it felt like an episode of the TV show. In my eyes, I'm reading the comic. I kind of wanted something more than that. Like, I think it's good. I think the Paulina Ganucheau art is great, especially the way she she draws like the background no-name kid characters in the kindergarten in the most under-detailed thing because that's how the cartoon was, because they were always in the background, even though like they're in the foreground in some of these things and they're still under-detailed. I thought that was funny, honestly. And I think the panel design in the kind of like not dream sequences, but when they're seeing like their true calling or whatever, I liked how it was kind of like in the way of when they fly and has the rainbow behind them, and the way the panels were laid out and the way you read it. It was like I was reading Echo Lands. But I just thought it was like what I expected. And maybe this is where like with Kelly Thompson, it's like I'm expecting a lot from Kelly Thompson lately, where like part of me was like, all right, I wanted to see what something different Kelly can do with this. I don't think it's a negative. I think it is about as good as you can get when you just kind of stick to the format of what Powerpuff Girls are and what the TV show is in comic book form. But I don't know. Maybe I think I might have overhyped it for myself. I also read this right after Hellblazer, and that was a friggin' whiplash. Don't recommend doing that. But yeah.
So I had to stop myself from going there. And because my thing was like, listen, it's the Powerpuff Girls. Where could this go? Like, really think about it. Like, where could this go? The best, most involved storyline we got out of the Powerpuff Girls is when they exile themselves from Townsville and the town goes completely apocalypse. And then when Mojo Jojo creates the Rowdy Rough Boys. That's it.
What I was thinking was I kind of wanted it not to be one and dones.
I understand.
Yeah.
Let me get there. The Powerpuff Girls, it really can't be more than this. And I think the problem here is that this initiative from Dynamite, and that's including, they have Space Ghost, right? Space Ghost, yeah. Thundercats,
Johnny Quest,
and Johnny Quest. I didn't get to read Johnny Quest.
Not out yet. Not out yet.
Okay. Oh, that's why. It doesn't feel like there's anything behind it. It just feels like more of that old stuff. And I think having had Space Ghost and Thundercats previously, that made me stop and go, just live in it. Because I remember very specifically, Thundercats by Declan Shalvey, to me, should have been tremendous. But my thing with it was, it didn't feel like there was a reason for it in 2024. I mean, you could say the same thing here about the Powerpuff Girls, but it's also just a cool issue of the Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, I mean, I got exactly what I expected, and I fucking love that.
Yeah,
I love the Powerpuff Girls, so I'm really glad I got what I expected. Like, you wrote a perfect issue, and a perfect issue was drawn of something that we loved, that's aimed at people who loved it, 20 years ago or whenever it was on. Like,
by people who loved it back then.
Right. That's all I want.
Yep.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
I don't want that. Like, for me, I want a little more. I want something different. Like, I had that already. I can go back to that if I want to. I would like to see like an evolution if need be. And I know I'm probably asking for too much, especially from Dynamite. But yeah, that's just, I understand that could be something other people want, but like, I would like to see the things grow or change. And I don't know.
Ah, yes, the kindergarteners.
I forgot about that.
The Simpsons has changed throughout, and they live in perpetual. I mean, they've gotten worse.
Haven't.
But
no, they haven't.
I mean, come on. How have they changed?
Bart's been 8 years old since.
No, I'm not saying age. Of course, they haven't changed in terms of age, but like the stories have done different things. They've attempted other things.
But it's
told
been the
different
exact
stories,
same thing.
But it's the same thing.
All right, maybe The Simpsons was a bad example. But like I don't like, I think you could do something a little different. Maybe do long form storytelling, because the cartoons couldn't do that, where a comic can.
Also, this is issue 1.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused.
I looked in the solicits.
Okay, that's issue 2. I mean,
well, but like,
yeah.
that's like, I would like to have a continuous
even-
story throughout, as
but even
opposed to
then-
one and dones here and there. Like, it's just not what I want.
Even then, you're judging this book based on that, like future books.
I'm judging the book based on it being a one shot, and I wanted more long form storytelling. Yeah.
Take it away.
I can't wait. We're getting Mojo Jojo in the next issue. Bring that shit on.
Yep.
I inject this into my veins. I'm tired of that Transformer stuff. I mean, Tyler, you said you love
Maybe that's what I want.
toy
Yeah.
smashing together thing, which I don't understand. He could like that and not this, but
For
this
real.
is what I need. And get Kelly Thompson and Gaucho to do these
Gana
show every day. I want a new Powerpuff Girls every day.
I might be comparing it to Kelly Thompson doing something like Scarlet, where it is that, well-known property and has toys, but maybe they're doing a little bit more there. But I know I'm saying that about the Powerpuff Girls, and I know I'm probably asking for too much, but that's just how I felt about it.
Only critique I had on Kelly's part was the him reveal. And I don't remember if this was what happens in the show, but it was very much meanwhile in Townsville, and him is just walking around. There wasn't
he was tearing shit up while they were distracted.
I mean, the him reveal happens on the first page. You know exactly who it is as soon as it happens.
It's not like it's not a mystery to anybody that's paying attention. So there's no reason for it to be a big, oh my God, it's him.
I can't believe we're arguing about a Powerpuff Girls issue.
That's what a podcast is for.
The fucking we didn't all like the person who likes the Phoenix didn't like the Phoenix. We're arguing about the Powerpuff Girls. Cats and dogs are living together. What is going on this episode?
I did appreciate seeing the dog in this issue, though.
Oh, that was so good. I forgot that was a bit.
I heard him.
Hamsters.
Yeah.
Did you see the Simpsons reference? Actually, to correctly reference Simpsons, when the him robot opens up and the hamsters are in there, and it has "Do It for Him" on it, which is like reminiscent to the Maggie "Do It for Her" thing that Homer had, and I was like, oh, okay, I dig that.
It's good.
Style So Serious says, take that evil back. Transformers is my jam. Listen, man, I get it. I'm totally cool with that. I pulled on the last issue. I would much rather read. I think Powerpuff Girls #1 is better than any of the IP books that have come out since the IP wave. I'm including Skybound. I'm including the Universal Monster stuff, all that. I think this was better than all of that. As a one issue thing, it just nailed exactly down what Powerpuff Girls is like. And I had a smile on my face the whole time reading it. It was just pure joy.
I was doing the voices, the narration.
Dude, I had the voices.
The theme song. Like,
I had the voices in my head.
Just a great time.
Yeah.
Okay, Randy Orton.
They were talking to me. What's Paranoid Gardens? Uncaged referenced it. What is that?
New Gerard Way book. I forgot that was this week.
I saw that. I saw that, and I was thinking about grabbing it. I was hoping somebody would mention it.
Okay, well, something to think about. The Discord, apparently Uncaged is gonna have a conversation over there, so I'll look into it and see if it's worth my while. Gerard Way, Umbrella Academy, that was really awesome. But then there was another Gerard Way book that I didn't care for. Fabulous
Killjoys with Becky Cloonan, or Doom Patrol. Those are like these two other biggest ones.
Is there not nothing else?
Might have been one other thing.
They did the Milk Wars crossover with the Justice League, the Doom Patrol and the Justice League, and that whole thing. I think he spearheaded that.
The whole Young Animals thing, which included Farm Sector.
Yeah, I did not like Young Animal, but I think it was Doom Patrol. It might have been Doom Patrol. But Umbrella was crazy. I got to go back to that because those were some good comics.
I think there was like a whole another volume of Umbrella Academy that like Mikey Way also wrote that was like one shots or whatever, like an anthology series.
Well, I think there's a whole new volume, but then there's also that. Yeah.
God, there's no marketing on those books.
So the first one was 2007.
That's what I thought. So then that would have to be that would have to be the first creator owned I ever bought. Cause I remember being like nervous about it, but I loved MCR so much that I was like, how could I not jump in? But I was like, how do I get this? Is it a different way? Like, I remember being so confused by all that because it wasn't Marvel or DC.
Dude,
Yeah.
I picked up an issue at a Hot Topic. It was
No
like next to
way.
Johnny the
What?
Homicidal
Yeah.
Maniac and some, I think,
Definitely.
Amory Wars. I think some Amory Wars books were out at that time too.
Probably, yeah.
That was the most Hot Topic book of all time, Umbrella
Yeah.
Academy.
Fucking what was the Tyler? You'll know this. What was the guy? He did Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, but it was a different thing. It was like
Stabbity
Squee.
Bunny?
I think you're right, Marco, but I don't know what Cale's
Is that what you think?
talking
It's
about.
like a rabbit Stabbity
No,
Bunny?
no, I don't think so. Anyway, Hot Topic core.
Hell yeah.
Damn. Definitely an aesthetic.
It's coming back, guys. It's coming back.
Yeah, we didn't grow up in the same place, but we definitely grew up in the suburbs. So.
Okay. So we've got the stack to do because we've run out of books to talk about as far as reviews, but we've got the stack to get into. And this was definitely a bit of a weird week. I will say that. I think everybody's stack strategies will be thrown off except for Dan because Dan has no strategy. He just says 16. So he'll be fine. Whether he'll win or not is up to chance. But I'm very interested to see the kinds of numbers we're going to see in the chat this week. On Cage, don't even get me started, dude. I went to an MCR concert. I sung my fucking lungs away, dude. That shit was amazing. I had such a good time.
There he is.
There's that 16. Yep.
Getting some numbers in the chat already.
Man, when there's big remender weeks, it always makes me think about my choices. I'm gonna go 14. Actually, addendum. Do variants count as separate issues in the stack, in the number?
Yeah, they have to.
I mean, if it's another comic, then yeah.
Okay. 14.
13.
Going with lucky number 13.
Damn.
Wow.
I have no idea what this is, Cale.
It was on that same like Invader Zim shit. So I just posted the comic Squee in the chat. And it's it's that real dark, grimy, nasty, gothy webtoon stuff of 2005.
I remember this. Yeah.
Oh, earlier probably. We have Dan, obviously, with 16. We've got Izzy with 12. Amin's got 13. Robotters has a smooth 11. Hound says 21. Good grief.
Yo, chill.
Whoa.
21?
Columbo says 10.
Yo, I said it first, bro.
Watch Sean have bought in every variant of Phoenix, only to not like the book.
Oh,
Wouldn't that be a shame?
And that's what happened.
The shop I went to, because I had to get Powerpuff Girls because I had trouble finding it in digital. They had the Aliens variant to Phoenix, and I was very tempted to getting that. They had like the holographic Joe Quesada one too. There's some good variants for Phoenix this week. That's why I feel like
I really didn't like the Phoenix variants that much. I was kind of underwhelmed. Like, what happened? Like, bust it out.
A lot of misses. This week.
I'm sensing a swerve. I could be.
Swamp Bat's got 17.
Shout out to
Swamp
Swamp
Bat.
Bat.
Yeah.
Swamp Bat. That's a
What is
cool
your-
name.
All right. You want to get into it? Let's get into
Let's
it.
hit it.
All right. So we've got the 5 that we did for the show. What else do we have? We have Immortal Thor Annual #1. I picked this up without knowing who the writer was, and I was like, ah, shit, don't tell me I bought one of those annuals that's not by the writer and artist of the main book.
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully, that is not the case. This is Ewing and Baliong. So that's great. But there is the Infinity Watch. This is a part of the Stones thing that they're doing, which I have no knowledge of. So I'm going to skip all that.
You're gonna
Now
skip-
I had go ahead,
Are
Tyler.
you skipping the book that you bought?
No. Like
Okay.
I'm not. I don't care about all that
Got it.
stuff
Got it.
that's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, I
Like,
didn't
I'm
pick
not
it up because
invested.
I saw it was like part 3 of something I'm not reading. I was like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. I've got Powerpuff Girls #1, cover
Again.
A, of course.
Oh, there it
I
is.
showed you an incentive variant, but I had to get that cover A. So, I've got Biker Mice from Mars #1, another
What?
big IP. Dude, I fucking love the Biker Mice from Mars. You didn't watch this show?
Who published
you
it? Was it
talking
like
about?
Nacelle?
Nacellverse, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they were trying to
I
work
don't
on
think
the whole
I ever
Nacelle
saw
verse.
Biker Mice from Mars, but I was scrolling through Comixology with Jess, and she went, "Oh, Biker Mice from Mars," and I went, "Who are you?"
It's like the GoBots for Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
Dude. First of all, when I was a kid, loved Biker Mice from Mars. Second of all, this comic was fucking great. I did not expect anything from it at all. This was my biggest surprise of the week. I couldn't believe. By the end of this, I was like, wasn't that supposed to be bad? Why was that good?
that's Melissa Flores,
Melissa
right?
Flores, yeah,
Who's
and
that?
Francis Portela. I want to give them their flowers. This was awesome.
She took up Power Rangers here in this
Hmm.
last leg, and it's supposed to be hot fire.
I think I'll check that out. I know Nacelle's been really pushing Biker Mice from Mars in terms of like their toys as well, like whole redoing the whole line and everything.
I didn't even know that. That's so cool.
Because I think
dude.
it's spun out of the Toys That Made Us, which I think they produced that series for Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
they've
yeah.
been getting some of the IP for toys that maybe don't have any output right now. And then they're doing comics too. So if you're, I'll check it out, Sean. If you had such a good review on it, yeah.
I mean, I have a connection to it, so maybe like it's a little more important to me, but just as far as like the work that was done in the book, they have real characters, they have real considerations and problems. There's a war going on, and they're trying to figure out if they want to go to war, but they really don't want to because they love their family. Like, I was like, holy shit, is this for kids or what? This was deep. Like, it was good stuff.
Interesting.
I
That's
enjoyed
crazy.
it.
That's
I was
cool.
a SWAT Cats kid.
SWAT
Dude, SWAT
Cats.
Cats was my jam, dude. Yeah.
SWAT Cats were
Yo,
My
you
jam
were
was
insane.
Street Sharks was for me. I love
Street
I fuck with
Sharks.
Street Sharks.
Which
yeah.
they're getting a rejuvenation too in terms of like the toys and stuff, and it is
Oh,
tempting,
bro.
buddy.
What was the one? Street Sharks was sick as fuck. What was the one with the there was like a mummy guy, a character that was like a mummy. It was all these people with powers. There was a mummy guy.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
I don't remember what it was called.
I know what you're talking about. Wait, Beetleborgs?
No,
No.
Beetleborgs was
No.
its own thing.
'Cause
That
they
was
had
sick too.
Mummies and Dracula in the basement
Yeah.
for some reason.
No, this was a cartoon, and it was in the vein of Street Sharks and SWAT Cats.
I don't remember what that was, but it was very cool.
Yo, you guys are, I don't know what you guys are saying right now. You're throwing out IP, you're saying shit. Big Bag Beetleborgs.
Was it Big
Street
Shiny
Sharks.
Robot?
You don't know
Sean?
about the Beetleborgs, dude?
That's
was the-
nuts.
What was the other one you just said? You said something cats?
SWAT
Street-
Cats.
SWAT Cats.
Wait, Mummies
Ooh.
Alive?
It was
Mummies
probably
Alive.
Mummies Alive.
Mummies
Yeah.
Alive, Okay.
That'll be exactly what it was.
How about VR Troopers? Anybody fuck with VR
Oh,
Troopers?
man.
Man,
Yeah,
this is how Marco's
Bro,
age is showing.
that whole Saban? You know that was my shit.
Hell yeah, dude.
Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad.
Never saw that.
Come on, it was an Ultraman ripoff, but they went inside the computer, so it was all internety and 90s cyberpunk. It ruled, dude.
There's just to bring up Street Sharks one last time. There was a guy on the internet who spread a lie on the internet that there was a female Street Shark, so much so that it infiltrated the internet to make people actually believe there was a female thing. It started going up in the wikis. People were saying, "Yeah, I remember that," and it was just a whole experiment to show how the truth makes no sense on the internet.
Mandela effect?
He forced the Mandela
Yeah.
effect. Yeah.
I love that. I also picked up Destro #2. I thought this was better than issue 1, but I actually waffled on even picking this up, but I did, and it was better, but I just don't care. It's not connecting with me.
Hmm. I want to get to that one.
Lawful #2. I really like the first issue of this, so I'm excited to check out #2. Greg Pak. Red Coat #4. This was much better, I think. There's a reveal at the end that I don't know. Like I don't really I don't know. Historical figures being revealed as like, haha, it's me, this person. It's like, wow, I just don't give a damn. I don't care about these people. They're you know, I want to read about Redcoat, not the guy that gets teased at the end of this one. Witchblade #1.
Let's go.
Oh, tastefully positioned glare there, Sean.
Yeah, right.
Honestly,
I got this variant because it was sick. This was good, but I didn't believe in the dialogue as much as I wanted to. Um, if that sounds weird, what I mean is that dialogue can pull you into a world or it can repel you from it. The more times, at least in my mind, the more times I have to go, would that character really say that? That doesn't ring true as like human language. More times I have to think that, the more it repels me from a book. And that happened a bunch of times here. It felt like an origin story. I mean, it was an origin story for Witchblade. So if you don't know her origin or whatever, it's very good, but I didn't love the dialogue all the time. Ain't No Grave #2. This actually did not come out this week. This is a reprint, but I missed it, so I grabbed it. World's Finest.
Accountable.
Sorry, Cale.
It's a very good way to hold yourself accountable.
There you go. World's Finest 29.
I checked out that World's Finest issue. Phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
I loved it. Big fan of that arc.
yeah. I got to check it out. I'm a couple behind on World's Finest. Undiscovered Country #30. I'm actually fully caught up on this, which is super exciting for me, but I haven't read this one. So, The Incredible Hulk #14. I am also a couple behind on this one, so I haven't gotten to this yet, but it hasn't missed at all. And Klein is back, so that's a beautiful thing. Nick Klein. Napalm Lullaby #5. This is losing me. Like it's definitely good, but I just don't care. I like if you put a gun to my head right now and said, "Tell me the names of the characters," I wouldn't even be able to guess as far as who they are. And that's never a good sign in my mind. And now we can argue about these, but I was finally able to get some DC Compact comics.
I got All Star Superman actually. Yeah.
Nice. I grabbed All Star and Far Sector. These were the only ones they had left, so I picked them up. I haven't gotten to them yet, but I'll just flip through them just so that holy shit, I haven't even flipped through this. Whoa, this looks so good, actually.
Yeah, bro. It's very well done.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, look at the crisp colors on this thing.
But one of my worries was like lettering and if how it's affected the art, but it's all done very well.
Wow, props to DC.
How's that paper feel?
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's thick. It's thick enough.
It's not glossy at all. It's very matte. Almost like actual book paper. But when I picked up All Star and I was going through it, it's in the other room, but I was like, man, do I prefer this format? It feels really good in the hand. It's smaller. Like it fits in my tote bag perfectly. I liked it a lot.
My question is DC losing their ass on this? Because this is $9.99, right? And Far Sector was 12 issues. So if every issue of Far Sector was, let's say $2.99, it was probably $3.99. But let's say it was $2.99. That's 3 times 12. That's like what, $36?
Yeah.
This is way less than that.
Yeah.
I'd argue though they're not the people that are picking up the single issues are not the ones picking up that most of the time. Like I think they're trying to target other people with those books, which I think is smart.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I'm
And-
saying, are they losing their ass by being able to sell it for so much less money?
Well, and the books they've chosen to do are the books that have already made a ton of money,
Sure. Yeah.
so they can use them to, you know, get more, but also stand to lose a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second wave comes out next month in August, and they've already announced like a third, maybe a fourth wave. It's got to be
I've
working
seen into
for them.
25.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Darwin Quick.
Tyler, sorry, you're the person that would know this. Well, I guess Marco might. The Oni press books, are they about the same size?
It's a little bit smaller.
It's a little smaller. Oni Press, I think, is a little squarer too.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
These are almost like, it's literally because it has to retain the same dimensions as a typical floppy. It's just shrunken down.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
I like it though. It's like, it's in my tote bag for when I go places with Crisis on Infinite Earths right now, and I'm like, man, one of them just feels better in the hand.
And those just came out. The All Star and Far Sector, July 2nd.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I had to go to 3 different Barnes and Nobles to find All Star.
These weren't even necessarily the ones I wanted. I just grabbed the ones that they had because I wanted to get in on the action. But the question is, do those count to the stack?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, you bought it.
There you go. Then
So
what would
that's-
that? Well,
19.
Yeah.
holy shit! No wonder the fucking bill was so.
Relapse.
Wow, 19. So that would be. Oh my god, is that Atomic Hound? Because he had 21.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
He
hold on.
was the closest
That won't be clowned on.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And-
Yeah.
Wow,
No,
good
wait.
stuff. No,
What are the rules?
closest without going over.
Yep.
So Hound went over.
No.
Oh, that's
Hound-
right. That's right. You're
So
right.
it'd
Yeah.
be Swamp Bat.
Oh.
No. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Swamp,
yeah.
Swamp Bat has 17.
Yeah.
Sorry, Hound. I always do that. I always get it wrong on that. Well, congrats, Swamp Bat. Swamp Bat, I don't know if you have ever been with us before or if you are aware of how this works, but basically what you have won is either a no prize or you can get the code for any of the Marvel books that I bought this week that we did not read for the show. So that actually leaves you with Hulk or Immortal Thor annual. So if you want either of those, all you have to do is DM me somewhere. You can join our Discord server and DM me there. You can get me on social or whatever, but you've got to be able to reach me personally.
Hound is arguing that the DC Compact counts as individual issues in the book. Then he would win.
Well, shoot, and if that were the case, then yeah, I'd have like 30 something. The bat beats the Hound. Huh.
I mean, these compact books looks like they are being sent out everywhere because I've random bookstores that I went to like Katona, New York, a couple weeks ago, and I saw it there. So they're being distributed all over the place.
The hell are you doing in my area, neck of the woods, without telling me?
I like to just like explore Hudson River. Just
Yeah, if you want to go for a nice little hike, let me know, dude.
Sunday maybe.
Planning
just go
dates
on a date.
live.
You want to hold hands, Marco?
Only if we hold hands.
Okay, cool.
Cale's
knuckles
jealous.
deep.
I mean, with Marco.
Again.
Oh my god. Roboter says, but for the price, it takes it down a notch. Got to be fair in these matters. Yeah,
I mean,
I'll be. Go ahead.
Not to us. Not in the game. And Sean's addiction aside,
Right.
sure.
That is true. There were some omissions, though. Actually, had I not fucked up, Atomic Hound would have won because I missed Invincible Iron Man number 20, and I missed Green Lantern War Journal number 11. I don't know how. I gotta
finale,
write
too.
down. Yeah, both are. Or well, no, it's the finale of Iron Man. I don't think this is the finale of War Journal.
There's one more issue.
One more to go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
is it? Oh, my bad.
I don't know how I missed them, but I whiffed, so I gotta get those next week.
Have you? You said you caught up with Undiscovered Country. Have you
Mhm.
caught up with anything else?
Why, Tyler? Yes, I have.
Oh,
Thank you for asking.
I need a new slide for this.
In fact, I have a list that I've been keeping.
Hey, let's go.
Yeah. So I recently read through 8 Billion Genies.
Oh,
Which came out
wow.
8 billion
Christian
years
was
ago.
Uncaged was just talking about that in
That's why I
Discord.
read it. He inspired me. He jumped it up to the top of my list because of his words on it, and so I decided to give it a shot. Um, it's okay. It's okay. I like the concept. The concept is basically really quick. Every human on Earth gets a genie. Each genie can grant one wish, then they're gone. That's it. And you see how that plays out. I think that it is an interesting idea and it has something it wants to say. I don't know if I felt like it ever really got there. I think sometimes Charles Soule's books don't have a lot of emotional resonance with me, and I definitely felt that this time around. There were some pieces that I thought were, emotionally gripping, but largely I didn't get it. And I also think the scope of it, while it does get big, I don't feel like the scope went far enough because if every person could get a wish, there'd be a lot of fucking wild things going on, and you don't really see the biggest stuff. There's also like a superhero angle and I was like, come on, man. Like when I'm not reading superhero comics, I kind of don't want to see them at all. And so this just felt shoehorned in. I don't know. It was okay. I liked it fine.
It's interesting because it seems like a book that would actually already be massive, massive scale, even by concept alone.
I mean, maybe I'm discrediting it when I say that because it goes like 80 years into the future or something like that. Might have even been more than that. It goes
Oh.
really far into the future to show you what happens in the end, when there are no when all wishes have been used. So that part is kind of cool. It reminded me of Lost in a lot of ways, but it just was too short to do what it set out to do, which was give us a reason to care about everybody. I felt like it could have been longer to accomplish that goal to its depths, but it was solid. Fantastic Four Life Story. I finally read that.
Real
Oh.
good. Yeah.
Wow. This was definitely, I thought it was better, I think, than Spider-Man Life Story. The
This is
shit was it was
this
Mark
isn't the
Russell.
Alex Ross one. Okay, yeah.
Mark Russell, and I'm regrettably forgetting the artist. But man, did it hit me hard. It hit me hard. I think everybody should read it for themselves. But for those of you who aren't familiar, Life Story takes these characters and treats them as if they age in real time from when they were created. So this one goes from the 60s all the way to I think it ends in the 10s. And wow, dude. If you care about the Fantastic Four, this will punch you in the gut and the face.
Isaac's Sean.
Okay.
Sean Isaacs.
Is it?
I think it's
And then an actor.
Probably. Yeah, that sounds right. Anyway, seriously, unbelievably good. Tyler, I assume you also read it?
yeah, I read it when it was coming out. I loved it. Thought it was really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. And then also, I mean, I had to do this for the show, so I don't know if it really counts, but I did catch up with Detective Comics. And I had to read probably about 20 issues to get caught up to current with that. And it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Derivative. I think that you can see a lot of like the Dark Knight Rises in it. You can see some of Morrison stuff in it. And when you see them, it's like really heavily present. But overall, I think it was pretty solid.
Nice.
Do you mind if I shout out something I caught up on?
Please.
I finally read. I'm up to date. The new issue just came out today or yesterday, actually, of Hellblazer: Dead in America. I think it's better than the first Hellblazer on Cy Spurrier did, and I loved
Yeah.
that. This one is a trek throughout America. I know we read the first issue for the show, and it was set in Florida, but every subsequent issue has John Constantine and Swamp Thing, actually, and the rest of the supporting characters in different cities across the U.S., and each issue tackles something with like the occult or American folklore that's just really good. They go to the Winchester House. They deal with chupacabras. They deal with La Rona. How do you pronounce that? The double L at the beginning
La
of it.
Llorona.
Yeah, they deal with that. They
Llorona.
deal with New Orleans and vampire lore, and it's really, really fucking good. And I like how it is from the perspective of a non-American dealing with American folklore.
Hmm.
And it's so good. I don't know why nobody's really talking about it. It is very wordy, which I know we give Cy Spurrier flack for. But when you have John Constantine, I think that just helps the character because he's wordy and he's an asshole.
How long is it? Is it finished now or is it?
No, it's still going. Issue 7 just came out, I believe.
Okay.
Check it out on DCU.
Dealing with like the idea of like the the like Bigfoot shows up. They deal with like the phantom hitchhiker, which is like just a ghost story that happens in the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
Cool.
real fun stuff. Yeah.
Damn.
Before we close, chat, I would really love it because I'm reading a lot of books right now, and I like if you recommend it, I very well may have it. And I'm a little bit unsure of where I want to go next. I put aside some of the future state books that I didn't read. I put aside Scott Snyder's Justice League, which I haven't read, Bendis's Justice League, which I haven't read, Justice League Dark by Tynan, which I hadn't finished. So I've put a lot of stuff aside. But I want you guys to tell me what you think I should catch up with, Marvel or DC. Could even be indie. It's just more likely I have it if it's Marvel or DC. Just shout something out. Let me know. And if I have it and I'm compelled by your pitch or the fact that, I can find the books, I'll read it and I'll talk about it next week.
I'm going to jump on that too. Is it time for me to get into Chainsaw Man again?
Oh, yes, it is. I've heard very good things.
I read the first arc and I couldn't put it down. And that was something like 100 chapters. And I know we're starting to get up to the really, really good stuff. And I've heard a lot of really good things too. And I'm wondering if it's time to jump in. I will talk about it next week, but I want to know if it's time to jump in.
You got Ninja Turtles to talk about next week.
Oh, man, listen, I could talk about it right now. I won't, but I could.
Colombo says it is. Should do it.
Peach Momoko Demon Days? Why?
That's not Chainsaw Man.
That was pretty good.
Recommend something to me unless it's that.
I actually did buy those though.
But I don't think you liked it because of with the time period and like how they reflected the characters. It is very good though.
Not Justice League by Bendis.
I would love to talk about Snyder's Justice League because I don't know anyone who's I read it all and I didn't have anyone to talk about it with because nobody that I knew at the time was reading it, and it doesn't seem to have the lasting power.
Even you and Murphy, when you were doing the long box, you guys dropped off of it. Like you were not enjoying it.
I think
or
Matt
he wasn't
dropped
enjoying
off.
it.
Yeah. I was because like by the end of it, I was like, I didn't hate it.
Yes, Tilo, I am.
Yeah,
he asked if I was caught up with Fantastic Four, and I am, yeah. Atomic Hound says Justice League Dark with Wonder Woman as the lead was better than Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Dan says, and if you haven't read McKay's Moon Knight, I was surprised by how good it is. I think you've read most good recent DC. Look, man, I don't know how to say this. I'm not fucking with the McKay era. I'm sorry. I have to read what I have to read for the show, which is Blood Hunt. I tried Doctor Strange. I gave it my full earnest attempt at first, and I'm not here for it.
Dan, I'll have you at least know that Moon Knight is next alphabetically on my list. So I guess you could have somebody to talk to about it.
Tyler can talk about that next week.
Caught it.
Yeah, it's probably tomorrow. I'll probably get through with it. Yeah.
Danger Street. Okay, yeah. Atomic Hound says Danger Street. Now that I think I will take you up on.
I'm excited for that discussion.
I generally like Tom King's 12-issue minis. I think they're often pretty good. I'm going to read Batcat. I was pulling those aside I want to read Batcat now that I finished his core Batman run.
I'll be interested to hear what you say about that, actually.
I'll be interested to hear what I say about that. Skip issue 9 of Danger Street. Hound, how am I
Specifically.
going to skip an issue?
I remember Hound being nuclear on that one.
I thought issue 9 was the standout.
Wow.
Oh, now I'm really interested to see this discussion.
I think I trust Hound's nose a little bit more.
Yeah.
Local.
Yo,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Marowak saying Wonder Woman. Nah, boy, not
Wonder Woman
happening.
what? Wonder Woman by who?
By whomst?
Yeah. Roboter says I have to hear your take on Batcat. You will. You definitely will. Fresh news. Give me absolute Batman Earth 1.
It says forcing someone to read Danger Street 9 is abuse. And while I liked it, Danger Street just isn't for everyone. You will miss nothing if you skip it.
Oh shit.
I assume that's 9.
Wow.
All right. That is not a ringing endorsement.
So at least if you read Danger Street, skip number 9.
You got to read it at this point.
Yeah, I kind of think I do.
With reviews that drastic in either direction, you got to check it out.
Yeah, I have to make up my own mind on that one.
You might need to set away a half hour, but yeah.
Okay, I'll skip it. All right, guys. The next time we will be live with you is this Saturday at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. Come for all the DC talk. We are all in on DC All In and Absolute. And we've got a lot of news to share with you guys on those fronts. So that should be a fun time. Also, some Marvel film news for those of you who still care about that sort of thing. We will be getting into what is potentially happening in the MCU that could bring it back to form. And lots of other fun stuff. So we should have a great show for you this Saturday. Come hang out with us live for that. Thank you for joining us live for this. If you want to catch the next time we are live for Palsiples, that'll be next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We always appreciate you guys hanging out with us for this. Before you forget about us, make sure you're subscribed. Leave a like on the video and vote in the listener pick poll. I want 300 plus votes this time around. We got really close last week. I think we can do it this week if you put your mind to it. Thank you so much for listening. Take care of yourselves and each other.